says it's right at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and begin. But before we get started with our practice, I just wanted to say a few words about the space that we're in and about what to expect from this practice today. As you can hear, those are the church bells. So we are here on location at the Mission San Jose. This class in particular is sponsored by the Western National Parks Association, which means that they provide funding so that we can offer this class to you guys completely free of charge. Typically it's an in-person class, but because of the circumstances, obviously, we're doing the best we can to bring you guys this practice, to continue to join us, and to get a little taste of this beautiful space. So most of you are likely at home, so hopefully you've found a space that you can get cozy and you can get comfortable. And I'm really excited to bring you a beginner-friendly practice. So all levels, do what you can. My goal today is to get you super grounded and in your own being, just to get us centered and begin to kind of recognize where you might need some extra attention, some nourishing. And so to begin this practice, we're going to start super simple, and I'm going to have you guys just lay out on your back on your mat. Legs out long. Hands can be facing palms up. Try to walk your shoulder blades underneath you. Heels a little wider than your hips. Just feeling the support of the mats beneath you. And go ahead and allow the eyes to softly close. And we'll start by tuning in just to your own breath. And taking a moment just to see what it feels like in your body, in your skin. And most of all, trying to find a little more support from that solid earth beneath you. We're going to build up into a pranayama that is called a 3-part breath. And this breath is a grounding breath that allows us to kind of slow down our heart rates, calm down any nervous energy, and to get us super grounded here in the physical context of our body. So we'll start by continuing to breathe, this time focusing your breath all the way down into the lowest part of your belly. So as you inhale, it's like you're blowing up a balloon in the belly, and exhale all the way out. If it helps to bring your hand to the belly, you can do that as well. We'll take just a few more here. Inhaling into that low belly and exhaling it out. One more just like that. Inhale deep into the low belly and exhale it out. For this next inhale, we're going to move the breath up into the lower ribs. So as you inhale, you're going to expand into the diaphragm, and you'll feel the low ribs expanding away from one another. And then your exhale to complete that energetic circle all the way back down. We'll take just a couple more like that. Inhaling into the rib cage and exhaling it out. One more deep, full inhale into your rib cage. And exhale, let it out. Finally, we're going to move the breath up into the top of the chest. So as you inhale, you're filling up the top of the lungs, maybe feeling the heart space lift up towards your chin. And exhaling completely. 2 more breaths into the top of the chest, just like that. Last breath into the top of the chest. And now for the next few breaths, we're going to put those 3 pieces together. So you'll inhale first into the low belly, keeping that inhale going into the lower ribs. And And then all the way up into the chest. And then one solid exhale, like a wave from the chest through the ribs to the belly. So again, inhaling belly first, lower ribs, upper chest. Exhaling from the chest to the ribs to the belly. We'll take 2 more breaths just like that. Inhaling and exhaling. Last one here. Inhale and exhale. Nice. Come back to a natural breath as you begin to flutter your eyelids open. Begin to wake up your toes and feet and fingertips. We'll take an inhale and extend your arms above your head. Spread your fingers, flex your feet, get really tall. Reach it out. And then as you exhale, just let your body rest right where it is. Begin to walk the feet over towards the right side of your mat, all the way over. Try to keep your hips grounded here. And now you're going to begin to walk your upper body. Maybe you lift the shoulders. You're going to walk it also over to the right. So this is called banana asana. So really thinking of creating that banana shape. Maybe you take that left leg and you cross your ankle over the right to get a little deeper stretch here. You can also take the right hand to the left wrist and just give it a little tug. And now bring your awareness back to your breath. See if you can expand through the left side body. Each exhale, softening the shoulders away from the ears, trying to keep both hips grounded to the mat. Taking one more breath in and out here. And if you have the hand to your wrist, release. If you've crossed your ankles, go ahead and uncross them. And we'll walk ourselves all the way back and find that neutral position and a full body stretch. This time, let's walk the heels to the left side. Hands and shoulders kind of scooch over to that left side. You can take your right ankle and cross it over your left. Maybe the left hand to right wrist, expanding your awareness into the right side body as you deepen your breath here. One more breath in and out. And then go ahead and uncross the ankles, release the wrist, come all the way back to center. We'll take one more full body stretch. And this time as you exhale, draw your knees up into the chest and give your shins a really big hug. Maybe you kind of rock around from side to side, beginning to settle the low back, grounded into the earth. And then from here, just gently grab behind your knees and begin to rock and roll yourself front to back. Have a little bit of fun feeling that massage coming all the way up and down the spine. And we'll make our way all the way up into a seated position. And then go ahead and cross your legs. And if you have a blanket, this is a really great place to bring it underneath the hips to help kind of elevate yourself up. Crossing whichever ankle naturally comes in front, finding a place that's comforting and grounding for you. And then we'll bring the hands starting onto the thighs, let the shoulders roll back and down. Maybe letting the eyelids close a moment here as we orient our awareness now into the seated position. So feel the sense of grounding into your sit bones. Drawing the navel in as we engage the navel towards the spine, just at about a 30% effort. It's a way of grounding our energy into the physical body. So as you draw that navel in, notice how you naturally begin to sit up a little bit taller. And as you lengthen the crown of your head tall, maybe you take the shoulders up and then roll them back and down, settling the shoulder blades down the back. Taking one more breath in and out here. And go ahead and bring your eyes to open, palms together, and just begin to rub your hands a little bit briskly here. I know I'm here and I'm outside, And so my fingertips are a little bit cold. So create that heat, that energy. And as you're doing so, I want you to think about what is the spark that really drew you to your mat today. Perhaps it's something personal that you need for yourself to nourish, or maybe it's something bigger about becoming part of another community. Whatever it is, just take a moment. And as you bring your hands to softly come to a halt together, just notice that energy between the hands. So where our attention goes, our energy flows. Today, we're practicing grounding our attention into our physical body, into our own experience. And as our attention goes there, we will send our energy so that we can know when to breathe a little deeper, when to soften places that are tense, and when to nourish those tender places that we find on our mats. I want you to bring your thumbs to connect to your heart. Spread your fingers out wide, sitting up a little taller here. We're going to come together in this virtual community and imagine all the other people that are practicing alongside you right now. And we'll send our voices out using the simple mantra of Om. So the mantra of Om is a uniting mantra that just takes that energy, that vibration, and uses it through our voice. So we'll take 3 Oms here together, but starting with a cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose, and then a big sigh out of your mouth. And now we'll inhale to Om. Two more, just like that. Last one, inhale. Taking one last breath. And then begin to release your hands. And to release your mudra, finding the hands grounded onto your knees. Go ahead and flutter open the eyes if they've closed. And then we'll begin to take another breathing exercise. As you inhale, reach up and out, all the way to the sky. And as you exhale, we're going to ground that energy. We're going to breathe out the mouth. So inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale. 2 more. Last one. This time, inhale, reach up. Interlace the hands, flip your palms towards the ceiling. Really reach up tall, and as you reach with the hands, drop the shoulders. Drop the shoulders down, re-engage your navel towards the spine, and take one more really lengthening inhale from the sit bones through the palms. As you exhale, release your right hand, begin to lean over into the right palm, stretching up and open through the left side body. Let's keep the shoulders shrugged down and notice if the teeth are clenching together. Separate your back molars. Relax your face. Taking one more breath to really open and expand the left side. With your next inhale, we'll come through center, reaching it up tall. Exhale to the other side. The left hand coming down, right arm reaching up and over. Keeping both sit bones planted and the shoulders rolling away from the ears. Big breath into the right rib cage. Last full inhale. And complete the exhale. On your next inhale breath, begin to reach your fingertips high towards the sky. As you exhale, we're going to flood the body forward, finding a forward fold all the way down. Maybe the forehead comes to the ground, or you can stack fists to bring the forehead to grounded. Wherever you are, start to bring your breath into the back of the body here, lifting first to the back heart, maybe into those lower ribs, and all the way down into the lower back. And with your next inhale, begin to walk your hands all the way back up. Let's take a moment and just switch the crossing of your legs. And then sit here for just a moment. Close your eyes. And, for many of us, the situation we're facing is out of our norm, right? Just like this posture. It can feel really uncomfortable when we're used to things being one way, and we switch it. And today I invite you to think about that. Just because it may not feel comfortable, and especially because it doesn't feel comfortable, doesn't mean that it's not right. There is no right and wrong, in the battle between them, especially within ourselves, in the context of who we are, can cause a lot of ungrounding energy. So today, we're just going to lean into whatever we are feeling in our bodies. Let's take an inhale and extend the fingertips one more time up to the sky. This time, as you exhale, bring your hands out into cactus arms. We'll do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, turn. Left hand behind you, right hand to your left knee. Each inhale, you're going to sit up taller. Use that back arm as a brace. Each exhale, you ring out to really get twisted here. The chin can stay stacked right over the sternum. If it feels okay and nourishing, perhaps you turn the chin to your back shoulder. Let's take one more inhale to rise tall through the crown. Exhale to ring it out. On your next inhale, 10 fingers find the sky. Turn the torso back to center. Exhale, keep rotating to the other side. Right hand comes behind you. Left hand to your right knee. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Use that right arm as a brace. Exhale, left hand as a guide to twist. So drawing that navel point in to help support a nice tall spine. Inhale. And exhale to ring it out. Maybe the chin to the shoulder. Last breath here. And twist it out. On your next inhale, all 10 fingers to the sky. Reach them high. And last time in this awkward side, we'll exhale and fold forward. Taking a moment to breathe into the back of the heart, from the back of the ribs to the lower back. On your next inhale, begin to lift yourself all the way back upright. Go ahead and take the soles of your feet onto the mat, bringing your knees up towards the sky. You're going to take the hands behind you, fingertips face towards the feet. If your shoulders are extra tight, maybe turning them slightly towards the sides of your mat. As you ground down into the mat, we're going to inhale, begin to lift your hips all the way up. Really finding the feet rooting to the earth, the hands rooting down. You can keep the chin tucked or maybe let it fall. Last breath here. And then as you exhale, slowly lower your hips. All right, we're going to make your way into our first child's pose. So however you can come around your shins. We're going to bring the knees nice and wide. So the knees about as wide as your mat. Big toes stay touched, just like a little wedge. And then you'll walk your fingertips to the front of your mat and bring your forehead all the way down. Try to let yourself soften and ground your energy into the earth. Maybe you gently rock your head from side to side, feeling that massage in your third eye.
Maybe taking your fingertips a little wider towards the sides of your mat so that the shoulders have space to really soften down away from your ears. On your next inhale, press through the palms and begin to lift your chest. You're going to take your right arm and you're going to thread it underneath your left. So then you come on to that right shoulder and the right ear. The left arm can keep reaching forward. You're just allowing the weight of the body to give you a shoulder stretch on that right side. Just a couple more breaths right here. On your next inhale, we'll begin to unwind, reaching that right arm forward, and then take it straight to the other side. The left hand is going to come under, coming onto the left shoulder, the left ear, and keeping that right arm extended towards the front of the mat. Just let the weight of your torso fall down into that left shoulder. On your next inhale, you'll press through the left hand and reach the right hand forward. This time you're going to press yourself all the way up and find a tabletop position. So in our tabletop position, the knees are right underneath the hips. The wrists are going to be right underneath your shoulders. Once you found your tabletop, you're going to go ahead and begin to breathe in and let the belly drop as we find our cow pose. Exhale, round out into cat. Inhaling, belly down, the gaze lifts, the collarbones are smiling here. Exhale, pressing the mat away, really round the back of the heart up. And then the last one here, as you inhale, let the belly drop and the gaze lift high. And exhale, round. And then go ahead and find a neutral spine. I want you to take your hands like one hand distance ahead of where they are. So we're a little bit forward. This time you're going to tuck your toes, lift up and back, and find your first downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And in your downward dog, we're trying to create an upside down V here. You can bend one knee and press the opposite heel towards the mat. And just go from side to side, waking up the legs. We're not going to stay in this first one for too long. So once you've walked a few times, let's find a neutral down dog. Let your heels come down, soften your knees. Let's take one more breath in and out. Slowly begin to tiptoe your feet, keeping the knees bent all the way to the hands. When you get there, we're going to halfway lift, get really long, keep the knees really bent, and then we'll find ragdoll. So just letting that upper body dangle down. The hands can drape down. So here you really want to feel that grounding energy from the feet. The legs are nice and strong. And I like to think of it like my legs are like a rock, and my upper body is like the water, like a waterfall. So let's see if we can bring a little more of that fluid energy, maybe shaking the head, rolling the shoulders, swaying the spine. You could even bend the elbows and grab onto opposite biceps or elbows, and just allow the weight of the arms to dangle down. Couple more breaths here. And then let your fingertips release down and slowly begin to unwind yourself all the way up, stacking one vertebrae at a time. And the chin will be the very last thing that comes up off of your chest. So in this grounded practice, our first time to take a new shape now. We started on the ground, and we came to seated, and now we're here on our feet. I want you to maybe walk the feet wherever they feel most grounded, hip distance, perhaps big toes touching. And then open up your palms to face forward. And as you do that, feel the upper arm bones and shoulders rolling back. kissing the shoulder blades behind you, and then feel both of your shoulders slide down the back as you lift the heart and almost finding that breath we found to lift the front of the chest. Finding a nice grounded stance, we're going to inhale and extend the fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, hands come onto the shins or even up onto the thighs. We're going to halfway lift. Now let's pause here. Take an exhale to stay. And I really want you to find that flat back. So we don't want to be rounding. It's like you could set a tray on your back. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, melt over your thighs. We're going to take a reverse swan dive to inhale. Reach out, reach up, bounce up to the fingertips. Exhale, swan dive back down. Next, inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins. Really get long. Maybe the thighs are a little more accessible for you. This time with your exhale, bring the palms to touch the earth. You're going to step both of your feet back, and we'll find our first high push-up, our high plank position. So ground into your physical container, and if you're struggling here, allow the knees to come down. One rule in this class, or in my classes, is that struggling is optional. So take another inhale, and as you exhale, lower down. Because when we struggle, we have choice. We can stay and suffer, we can change our body, or we can change our mind. Walk your hands back so that the wrists are right under the elbows. On your inhale, we're going to lift the heart, find cobra. Squeeze the elbows back behind you. And exhale, lower down. Pressing up into that high plank, either on the knees or with the knees lifted. And then transition into your downward facing dog. Let the hips come nice and high. We'll take 3 big breaths here. In through the nose. And maybe out through the mouth. See where you're holding on to tension. Maybe the shoulders. With that exhale, let it go. Last full breath in. Complete that exhale. Look to your hands, and we'll meet the feet to the hands. Whether you walk there, take a big step there. From the front of your mat, take an inhale and halfway lift. And exhale, bow. On your inhale, reach yourself all the way up. And on the exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Take just a moment here, once again, reminding yourself of what it was that brought you to your mat. And then opening up your eyes, take an inhale, ground to the feet, extend your fingertips high. As you exhale, swan dive yourself down. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, palms plant to the mat. Step the feet back. Use that same exhale to lower all the way onto the mat. On your inhale, we're going to come straight up into cobra, maybe a little higher. Keep those elbows hugging in like wings. Exhale, coming down. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back to the back of your mat. Take a breath in and a breath out. Taking one more breath in and a breath out. Look to the top of your mat. Walk, step, or float feet to the hands. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, fold. All right, this time we'll sit our hips back and into an invisible chair. Bring your hands to your heart and slowly begin to peel the chest away from your thighs. Keep sending the energy just back through the hips into the heels of your feet. Kiss the shoulder blades together, pressing the palms at your heart center. You can stay here, or for the last breath, fire it up and really extend the arms so you look like a lightning bolt here. From the heels to the fingertips, fire up, inhale. And then with the exhale, we release. Halfway lift, inhale. This time, exhale, plant your palms, and with your left foot, take a really big step to the back of your mat, and you're going to turn your heel and set that left foot about 45 degrees. We're rising up for our warrior one pose. Let's start with hands at hips. Draw right hip back, left hip forward. Sink into the right knee so it stacks over your ankle.
and then seal the outer edge of your back foot down. So grounding into those feet, once again, right hip back, left hip forward. Draw the navel in, try to feel the rib cage getting lighter as you lift up through the heart. Hands can stay grounded, or fingertips can extend. Anytime your fingertips come high, try to keep those shoulders grounded. Last breath, maybe the gaze comes high. Take an inhale and extend. Then with your exhale, hands to the mat. Option to take a chaturanga, which is stepping that right foot back and lowering down. Or you can take a nadaranga and just take the hips to the sky for downward dog. So your choice if you like taking that flow, or you can skip it and make your way to downward dog. Take a deep breath in and a breath out. Look to your hands. We're going to take a step with your left foot forward and start to set the feet up for warrior one on the other side. So that right heel comes to 45 degrees, and as you lift, hands come to the hips. You'll rebend into that left knee so the knee stacks over the ankle, and then seal the outer edge of the right foot down, and then start to draw that right hip forward, left hip back. So that grounded energy is squeezing in the legs. Then we lift up through the chest. Maybe the arms become a natural extension of that energy, and as the fingertips extend to the ceiling, the shoulders drop down the back. Last breath, perhaps the gaze lifts up. Really extend, tall inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat, taking that vinyasa flow or skipping it, coming straight into your downward facing dog. And take a deep breath in and let it out. Look to your hands. Bring the feet all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Finding chair pose again, set the hips low. Inhale, reach the arms high. All right, so part of our grounding practice, obviously, is feeling that earth energy, feeling nice and strong and stable. But it also is, can we find that edge to where we're tippy and come back into that groundingness, right? So we're going to find that here. We're going to start and we're going to inhale, take the hands back behind you, straighten your legs, and then try to come up onto your tiptoes. It's called diver's pose. It's almost like you're about to dive off a diving board. So notice the instability and then ground yourself. Take another inhale. As you exhale, you're going to bring the heels back down, sit the hips low, reach up. Take a breath in. And then exhale, come back, straighten the legs, dive. See if you can stay grounded. Hips down, fingertips up. Inhale. Exhale, hands back. Lift up, dive, straighten the legs. Last one, inhale, reach up. This time as you exhale, just take it into forward fold. Halfway lift on your inhale. And exhale, bow. This time, take a big step back with your left foot. You're going to spin the left foot down. I'm going to take it to the opposite side. Left foot down. So the left foot's up parallel to the back of your mat. Right toes facing forward. And we're going to rise to warrior two. So in your warrior two pose, you're open towards the long edge of your mat. And I want you to bend the right knee until the knee stacks over your front ankle. Once again, sealing the back foot down nice and stable in the legs. And as you press down into the feet, lift through the crown. Fingertips reach in opposite directions so much that it's almost pulling the fibers of the chest apart. And then gaze over your right fingertips. And I want you to lean into your experience here. Meaning, find your breath. Find your center. Notice if you're being present and strong like a warrior, or if you're in your head, right, a worrier. So we can either be strong warriors here, or we can be suffering by being in our heads. You're going to flip both of your palms, and as you flip your palms, notice you roll the shoulders back. And then you're going to let the left hand fall to your left leg, a big scoop up and back as you reverse your warrior. So the tendency here is for that right knee to straighten. So try to keep actively bending the right knee forward as you extend the right fingertips back.
The gaze can come down, really be grounded to the back foot, or perhaps you lift your chin up and look under the right arm. Taking another breath in and out. On your next inhale, rise. On your exhale, hands come to the mat. Go ahead and come to the ball of your left foot. Plant your left hand to the inside of your leg, right hand to the right thigh. Begin to twist open to the right side. The tendency is for that left hip to drop. I want you to engage in the left hip, drawing the right hand maybe up towards the sky. Take another inhale here. As you exhale, right hand touches the ground. You take maybe a couple hops or a big step to bring the left foot to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Nice. This time, take your right foot and you're going to step your right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Once again, I'm going to turn so you guys can see me. So the left foot's facing forward, right foot's parallel to the back of the mat, and you're opening up, standing up, finding warrior two. Sinking left knee so it stacks over the ankle and really grounding through that left heel. You'll start to feel your leg nice and awake. Same thing with the back foot. Press the outer edge of your back foot. Feel that back leg engaged. Now drawing the navel in, get tall, and then flip your palms. Roll the shoulders back. Take your gaze over that left arm. Right hand starts to fall into the right leg. Inhale, a big scoop up and back into that left side. Once again, there's a tendency to straighten in that left knee. Try to keep it bent over your ankle. Taking one more breath. Maybe the chin's coming up underneath that left arm. And then on an inhale, rise back into your warrior two. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. As you bring the hands down, come onto the ball of your back foot. The right hand's going to be your anchor on the inside of your left foot. Left hand to your thigh, and begin to twist the spine open, staying engaged in that right leg. Left hand might come to the sky. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, left hand down, take a big step or a couple steps. Bring your right foot to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, fold it down. With your next inhale, let's sweep all the way up to standing, fingertips high to the sky. And then with the exhale, bring your thumbs to connect to your heart. Nice. Gaze comes down to the fingertips, or maybe you close the eyes. As we transition into a balancing pose, I want to reconsider this idea of what it means to be grounded. Often we think of grounding as a solid way of being. You know, in the trainings that I've done in meditation, the one truth is that our grounded state is being comfortable, being ungrounded. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but it's so in these moments when our feet get swept out from under us, we have the ability to stand back up. So we're going to explore that dedication right here on our mats. And we'll start with the feet together. Hands come in front of the heart. And I want you to begin to shift your weight into that left foot. And as you shift your weight into the left foot, you'll start to turn your right knee open, and we're finding a tree pose. So if you're familiar, you can go ahead and find it. Otherwise, I'll walk you through it. The really basic grounded version is the heel at your ankle and the toes on the ground. Like a little kickstand, just focusing on shifting into a new way of standing. Maybe you start to play with taking the foot completely off the mat. And it can move anywhere on the leg as long as you're not pressing on the inner knee. So take a moment, notice I'm moving, I'm wobbling. That's great. The purpose is not to be strong and stagnant, it's to be aware. So start to pay attention. So when I start to wobble, I re-engage. Engage through that left leg, draw the muscle to the bone, make it feel strong and stable like the trunk of a tree. Now when you push your right foot towards your left leg, you're pushing against one another, creating a lot of strength, a lot of energy. Navel drawing in, you can keep your hands at your heart or grow your branches up and out. And then soften into it. Let your shoulders soften down. Let your branches be a little bit fluid. So a tree stands strong because it allows itself to bend. Last breath, finding a wobble point so that you can realign and ground yourself here. And then we'll go ahead and bring that right foot down. Shake out your left leg, maybe give it a little bit of love taps. Yeah, been doing a lot of work for you. All right, we're gonna do that on the other side now. So standing on your 2 feet, this time you'll begin to bring the hands at heart center. Weights coming into your right foot. Left heel can start at your ankle, come to the intercalf, all the way up perhaps to your inner thigh. So I forgot to mention on the other side, a really important part of grounding is our drishti, and that means a purposeful gaze. It means looking at something that you can focus your attention on that will help to keep you stable. Once again, finding that strong, solid trunk in the right leg, left foot pushing against the right leg, navel in to lift you tall. Maybe your arms become a natural extension as you really grow into your tree here. Again, the purpose is not to be stable, it's to allow the wobble to happen and not let it kick you out of your practice. So if you fall, just get right back up. Last breath. And we'll go ahead and bring your hands down. Go ahead and bring the left foot down and shake it out. Maybe give some love taps to that right leg. All right. Now we're going to make our way to the ground, but getting a little deeper into the hips. So where you're standing, take your feet a little bit wider and let your feet kind of a little bit like duck feet. So your feet are facing out towards the side. You're going to inhale, sweep the arms up high, and as you exhale, we're going to come down into as deep as a squat as you can. So 2 more just like that. Inhale, reaching all the way up, and as you exhale, dip down into a squat. Inhale, stretch and reach all the way up. And then this time, come down into a squat and try to stay low. So a lot of times the heels may be lifted. If that's the case, then just walk the feet a little wider. If you're super, super tight in the hips, you may look a little more like this with the hips in the sky. That's okay. If you can drop the hips down, elbows come to the inner thighs, and we're going to reach up through the crown of the head. Nice. Taking one more moment to really ground through your feet. Feel the legs and the hips alive here. And then take the hands towards the earth. Begin to straighten your legs. Toe heel your feet underneath the hips. And then just take...
That'd be heavy. You know, I think of gorillas, they have really broad shoulders and upper back, so bring your breath into that space. And then really allow the feet, the pressure of the feet to help to alleviate any tension you may have in the hands or the wrists. So one of the ancient reasons I like to share that we do this pose is to make our hands smell like the bottom of our feet. So I guess right now it's a good thing we're all washing our hands often and not touching our faces. So we'll be extra careful of that for the rest of class. And go ahead and slide your hands out from underneath your feet. Take an inhale, find a halfway lift. As you exhale, go ahead and bring your hands down to the mat and step your feet all the way to the back of the mat. We'll take one last vinyasa here. You can take it or leave it. Inhaling, the chest lifts. And we'll make your way to your final downward dog. Take an inhale breath. And exhale it out. Take one more breath here. And get empty. Look to your hands. Feet are going to come forward, and we're just going to return ourselves to sitting for just a moment, extending both of your legs straight out in front. So take a moment. You can move your blessings out of the way so that we can get really grounded through those sits bones, the bony part that we can find right under the flesh. And then the hands come right beside you. This is our staff pose. So the hands kind of act like braces, and as you press into the mat, you sit up nice and tall through the chest, feeling the shoulder blades kiss back.
Toes up towards the sky. I want you to take a little bit of a bend in your knees. And as you inhale, you get a little taller. And as you exhale, imagine your heart is moving towards your toes. So start with the hands continuing to be by the hips. When you get to your longest place, you can start to walk your hands forward. Allow the palms maybe to rest up or grab the feet. And lastly, let the weight of the head be heavy, chin towards the chest. As you're here and breathing, draw your awareness into your experience. Given the tools we've been using, starting with the breath, where can you expand and soften? And then working your way into that navel center. As you engage the navel, can you wake up a new place of awareness in your body? Perhaps allowing you to get a little longer through the spine. One last exhale, just melting into this experience. And your next inhale, begin to bring yourself upright. We're going to take another one of those altar poses. If you want to take it a little deeper, instead of bending the knees to press up, you can keep the legs straight and try a reverse tabletop. So on the inhale, it would just look like this, a little bit more. So you can try either this variation or bending the knees, finding the earth between the hands and the feet, and lifting yourself up. Altar pose. I like to think of squeezing my shoulder blades together and lifting my heart up as if I'm offering my heart to the sky. And then slowly begin to lower your hips down and toe heel your feet together. Sitting up tall, we're going to ease our way down first by finding a little bit more of that awareness and engagement in our core of our body. So starting with a nice long spine, squeezing the shoulder blades together and grabbing on behind the knees just like I have. You'll begin to walk your feet towards your hips as you lean back, and your feet are going to magically start to float. Once they do, bring your shins parallel and find your boat pose. So the goal here is not to compromise and round in the upper back. It's to try to keep lifted. So a good tool to keep here is the hands on the knees. If you want to try a little deeper, perhaps you extend your fingertips out. As long as you're not compromising that upper back, try to keep lifted like a string is pulling up on your sternum. Taking one more inhale. As you exhale, start to straighten it out, but not quite on the mat. So you're barely hovering. It's like a canoe. Your lower back, your belly button's hugging in, your lower back is kissing the mat. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, heels drop. Find a full body stretch. Reach the arms overhead. And as you exhale, hands are going to come back by the side. And you're going to bend your knees to the sky, bringing the heels down to the floor. And you want to walk your feet in as close as you can towards your sit bones here. So you should be able to maybe tap onto the heels with your fingertips. We're going to take a few breaths in a moving bridge before we hold the bridge. So we'll start by rounding through the feet, and as you inhale, you're just going to lift the hips as high as you can. And as you exhale, focus on slowing down your descent. Two more like that. Inhale, curling the tailbone up, lifting all the way as high as you can, and then exhaling to slowly roll your tailbone down last. This time, inhale, pressing all the way up. Stay here for your exhale. Begin to bend your arms. So we're going to use that grounding energy of pressing into the elbows to try to get a little more lifted in the upper back. So maybe your shoulders even come off the mat. Then you can walk your elbows towards one another to bring those shoulder blades in. And then you can stay here, or straightening your arms, you can either grab on to the sides of your mat, and as you pull the mat apart, you get a little more lift in the heart. Or maybe you grab your own hand, ground through the feet, take one more inhale to lift, and then on your exhale, that slow roll of the hips to the mat. Walk your feet as wide as your mat, and then just let your knees windshield wipe to the right and to the left, side to side. And finding your knees to the sky, begin to bring your knees up and into the chest. This time we're going to find our way into happy baby. Knees are going to come wide, soles of the feet high. You can take your hands to the inner thighs here. You can grab onto the ankles or even onto the outer edges of your feet. I want you to try to keep the head and shoulders grounded, the tailbone grounded. Maybe you rock from side to side. And finding a few last movements as you neutralize yourself right into center. This time, taking the soles of your feet together. Let your knees push away from you like a butterfly. Just kind of feeling your shoulders continuing to try to kiss the mat. Those knees moving towards the front of the room. Keeping your feet together. Let's take the hands to the outsides of the knees. Close the knees together like a book. Keep them hugged in nice and close. And you'll take your arms out really wide here and allow your knees to begin to fall over to the left side, all the way to the ground. And then maybe you kind of lift that left shoulder, move it towards the knees so that you can come a little flatter with both shoulders towards the mat. You can set your gaze straight up to the sky, or try on looking over either shoulder. So if you look over the right, or you can look towards the knees. Just listening deeply in these last few moments before our Shavasana to recognize any remaining tense or tender spaces. This physical practice was designed to prepare us for a more open and expansive experience in our Shavasana. So these last spinal twists help to wring us out, almost like a kitchen towel, wringing out any of the remaining debris that'll keep us from being present. The next inhale, let your knees come up towards the sky. And as you exhale, take the knees over to the right side. Once again, maybe you kind of resituate the upper back to get both shoulders down. Playing with your gaze, either looking away from the knees to the ceiling or in the same direction as your knees. Last breath in and out here. Now gently begin to bring the knees back up towards the ceiling. Wrap your arms around your shins and give yourself a hug. So a really big hug. I know we're probably missing all the hugs that we're getting from our Omis. So just embrace yourself and give yourself the biggest hug that you're wanting to give your favorite person you haven't seen in a while. And then as you exhale, release your head and release your legs, and we'll slowly make your way into a comfortable space to lie out in a rest. So palms can be wide. Let's settle those shoulder blades to support an open heart. Feet kind of soften to the side of the mat. Any additional props that you have at your disposal to get you comfy here, pillow and blankets are definitely appropriate if you're at home. I want you to close your eyes and begin to come back into that 3-part breath. So like a wave, letting your breath come down into the belly, into the ribs, up to the heart, and emptying out from the heart, through the ribs, through the belly. Just letting that wave rise and fall with each breath as you watch. I want you to visualize this wave almost as if it's fluid. The wave of your breath like a wave in the ocean. And as we talk about this idea of grounding, and it can often be confused with being rigid. But in fact, our natural state is more expansive and fluid, like water. We're adaptable to take on many shapes. Begin to settle back into a regular breath, just watching the rise and fall. Just like water in the ocean, there's days when our being is calm, like glass, not a ripple in sight. And there are also days where it's like a hurricane. The waves are out of control. We feel like we can't even breathe. We are meant to experience both of these states, just like the ocean. It doesn't impact who we are. We're still here breathing, and we have the capacity to handle all sorts of weather. When we tune into ourselves, the key of this practice is not to feed that storm. We can experience it, let it be a part of us. But if we get too involved and wrapped up in the emotion, in the state, struggling to swim or catch our breath, then when the water gets calm, we're still making our own waves. So in this moment, for these last few breaths, I want you to rest in this idea that you are okay, that we are all okay, and that we can have the capacity to adapt as long as we stay grounded to that central spark, perhaps the same spark that brought you to your mat today. Take a few more breaths, and I'll bring you out of this in just a few moments. Begin to bring your awareness back into your breath. Gently start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Find a moment as you inhale, stretch your arms over your head, feet long, and as you feel the energy moving from your hands to your feet, just be grateful for this container, the lessons you can learn just by paying attention. Draw your knees into your chest and then roll over to your favorite side. Find the fetal position, taking a moment in this transition as a reminder that every breath in our life is a symbol of transition, an ability to realign ourselves and ground ourselves back to our vision and to move forward from that empowered place so that when life knocks us off center, we have the wisdom and the capacity to come back. Begin to press yourself up and find a seat, just how we began, with the sit bones in the earth, the heart lifted. This time, bring the palms of your hands together, and we'll find our unshakable trust mudra. So, interlacing the fingers, letting the elbows drop down by the side, and your eyes can close here. So I want to invite you to, and I'm going to share a mantra with you to close this practice. So as I mentioned earlier, mantra is just a way of extending our internal energy, the vibrations, and sending that out so that it moves beyond ourselves. The mantra we'll close with today is a Sanskrit mantra. The words are Wahe
Guru. And Wahe just means like woohoo, it's like a victory or a celebration. And Guru is that which takes us from the darkness of ignorance into the light of understanding. So here we are going to be celebrating that Guru or that wisdom that lives within ourselves. I invite you to keep your hands where they are and just listen this first round. So feel free to just listen, absorb, or join with me. Inhale. Just listen. Last voice, inhale and join with me. Now bring the palms back to touch at the heart, into that prayer mudra, thumbs touching your heart center, fingers spread wide. And once again, imagine all those practicing with you as part of this community. And we'll close our practice with a celebration of Om. Inhale, exhale to Om. Bring your thumbs to touch the center of your forehead, acknowledging that source of wisdom, that Guru energy that lives within you. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I acknowledge that light within each and every one of you. Namaste. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for being a part of this virtual class today. I'm really grateful that we're still able to share this practice in this beautiful space of the missions with each and every one of you. If you're not already following Mobile Om on Facebook, please follow us. We're going to be doing live classes all throughout this month as we're kind of trapped in our houses. We also have a really great online community that we just created called the Mobile Om Tribe. Look it up on Facebook and find us. We'd love to have you be a part of it so that we can feel a little bit more connected these days when it can feel pretty isolating. So again, thank you so much for coming and practicing. My name is Cassandra Foss. This is Mobile Om, and thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your weekends.